Hello, Sim Gamers. Welcome to a bonus feature for Elite Dangerous Odyssey. As I was playing some multiplayer missions with a friend of mine, which is an episode that'll be coming out soon, it occurred to me that there are quite a few things that I take for granted as knowledge that I have and stuff in Elite on how to play the game, how to fly around, how to do various basic things that not every new play people aren't going to necessarily know. So I went ahead and turned off all of my auto features, auto dock, auto launch, auto land, and super cruise assist so that we can see how to use these basic systems without the assistance to hopefully help you do basic common things like land on a planet safely, orbit, land on a planet, depart from a planet, enter, leave the space station safely and stuff like that if you don't have autopilot. Of course, all these assists help along the way. The Super Cruise Assist really helps you get to destinations, safely without having to fly past and do the loop of shame. But hopefully I can teach you how to avoid doing the loop of shame. And I also wanted to go over the controls that I have and some of the basic stuff on how to do things like the using a discovery scanner and all that information that I'm using the discovery scanner, using the signal scanner to find stuff, discover systems, and do scans. So I wanted to make sure to cover that in this part of the episode. So let me just adjust my camera a little bit here. Hopefully it won't glitch out too much when I do this. For a slightly better view of my lap. Very good. But you can see my control outlay here. I'm using a HOTAS X56, which gives me a few things that I didn't have before. Where my thumb is wiggling right now, right about there, is basically another joystick. And this is what I'm using for my vertical and lateral thrusters. So if I'm moving this way or up and down, I use this for that thrust vectoring. Over here on this thumbstick, I've got my view free look set up. So I just tap it and click and I can look around, which is pretty cool. This right here is my energy control. When I'm doing manual flying in the space dock, I usually have full system on full power to systems, just in case I bump into something. This right here is my targeting cluster. You can't see it on my thing. It's here. This button right here, this switch right here is my power setting. So we're going to go ahead and put full power into shields. This right here is targeting. If I wanted to target various different things. This is button is my hardpoint deploy. I can't remember what I have assigned to this, if anything. I've got a little button right here that changes my mode from data collection to combat mode. And of course, primary fire button down by my pinky down here. I've got my secondary fire button. I've got a little lever right here that's kind of hard to see, but it turns on it when I pull it. Think of it like an e-brake or whatever. It disables flight assist. So if I want to pull some more maneuvers. And then I've got my various switches. For these three switches right down here, I'm using them for the scanners and stuff that I have. I don't use the mode switch, but I use this knob for signals and things like that. So we will take a look at all those controls as we get into this. Let's go ahead and launch. And we're going to do a full manual exit of the starport. And also, of course, I have an additional control from X keys. It's going to be a few extra keys that I could totally customize. This is all the keys are stored on the EEPROM, so I don't need to have a special driver or anything. It's just an input device. All right. Ship released. So I'm applying my thumb thrust to apply vertical thrust. I hit this button here to pull landing gear. Get myself more or less lined up, and I'm in reverse thrust. So I have a trigger right here for forward and reverse thrust, and this is my boost. So the speed limit is 100 meters per second. We'll go ahead and keep ourselves underneath that. It's easy to do with all my power and shields, and head out the toaster slot. If there's any other traffic coming in, I favor the side that's lit with the green flashing light. But as it is no other traffic, I'll just aim for the center. Head on out. Auto rotation stops. And we're clear to go ahead and go to full throttle. So as soon as I get out of mass lock, I'll hit the big blue big button right here
Frameshift drive charging.
And I can cancel, of course. When I push the button, it holds down red
Frameshift
and then turns blue when I've
charging.
let go.
Way ahead is clear. Stay safe.
Some of these other buttons have a slightly different, have a longer animation where they will stay red during things like the gear transitioning to up, which you saw earlier. I found that the X53 or X50, whatever, the X50 series, I had the 54 before this, even the X56, there's not enough buttons for all the stuff that I want to do, and I don't want to hunt around on the keyboard for jump stuff, so I made an easy control panel that's with big buttons that are easy to find by feel. And this was for primarily when I was back playing Elite Dangerous in VR mode. Okay, we found a place with a lot of planets, a lot of unexplored stuff, so we're going to go ahead and use our discovery scanner, which once again is I'm holding down the pinky button, which is my number 2 fire group. So if we take a look at fire groups over here, I've got the discovery scanner bound to number 2 on the secondary group. And if I need to change my fire groups, I've got I'll show it here briefly and then put my thing in place. I got this rocker switch back here that allows me to change my fire groups with my pinky on the throttle. So I'll go ahead and throttle down, push forward on this switch, which is the binding I have to go into planetary scans, and this dial once again to start finding the different frequencies. So here's sort of the larger planet frequency, and here we have an icy body, no features. Definitely some stuff in this area in different bands. So I'm going to go ahead and tune to the band that'll get me some results. Belt clusters. A high metal content world with 3 geological features. Maybe we'll get out and take a look at those so I can at least show the bindings and how all that's stitched together. I need to find the right frequency here. Here we go. Another high metal content world, and then we're basically down to whatever this is in the frequency band. So apparently there's a lot of them. A lot of these icy bodies. Doing this as you're flying around on all of your other missions that you're doing on a regular basis anyway will get you a lot of extra cash when you go turn your discoveries in on at space stations.
System scan complete.
So we've got the system scan complete, which means I can now back out of this and actually take a look at the system map. I have map bound to M key, then I go over to the system map. And I want to take a look at this information to find out the ones that had planetary information, and I'm looking for the geological features. So this one has the geological features that are worth probably taking a look at. So now we're going to get into our landing routine. Oh, it's less than, okay. Whenever a planetary body is less than 8 seconds away, or basically less than 10 seconds away, I always adjust my throttle to the middle of the blue band. That guarantees a safe approach speed so that I don't end up crashing into the planet. So if I've gone to Super Cruise Assist, likely I've turned on Super Cruise Assist and I'm at full throttle. When I want to drop out of Super Cruise Assist and actually land on the planet, I need to make sure that I've pulled this back to, oh, it looks like about 2/3 throttle to get in the middle of the blue band, so that when I'm approaching the planet, I don't come in too hot and too fast and have to emergency drop, causing hull damage. It's more embarrassment than anything, and a nominal fee to fix your hull if you keep on doing that, but why spend the money if I don't have to? Now we're coming up close to here, close enough to here where I can probably switch over to my surface scanner, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click the trigger button since I have that bound in this fire group to the surface scanner. We'll go ahead and drop some probes. Looks like 2 probes is my target. So about there for the backside maybe. Now in the surface scanner I have this switch right here.
By 50%.
set to change my view of the planet between front and back.
Surface scan complete.
And I have this switch to change the different types of signals that are out there. So it looks like all these signals are in similar spots. I'm going to go ahead and just set to all. And then once again, to back out of the mode, click this button here and I'm out. So let's go ahead and chase down some of these things. I need to remind myself I'm still super cruising towards a planet. So no more than about 2/3 throttle as I angle myself in for a landing. Now diving straight for a planet is fine for a little bit, but as soon as I get to where I'm actually going to want to orbit, I'm going to pull off to towards the horizon here. And since I'm doing discoveries, I'm actually going to go ahead and aim towards the light side.
Orbital flight engaged.
So we're coming down quite quick. I'm waiting for my speed to bleed off a little bit here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and keep an orbital attitude until my speed comes down. And once I've picked a landing spot, basically, I want my landing spot to be between 40 and 30 degrees down. This ensures me a nice, safe glide. So if I'm landing at a specific location, then I'm paying attention to that, sort of aiming for that location to be between this 40 degree and 30 degree band, and adjusting making sure I'm coming in nice and slow so that I don't end up overshooting it or having to try to dive for it or anything. If I do come in too fast, it's okay to just sort of go back up into an orbital attitude, come back around and try again. So it looks like we have a rather flat landing spot down here. Now that I'm out of orbital glide, I can go quite steep if I want to. We're 2 kilometers from the ground. And we'll let my hovers take over at this point as we come to a stop.
Landing gear deployed.
Now I'm using this ground alignment tool to help me align with the ground, and just slowly applying downward thrust. Now this is obviously done with an autopilot if I have it installed or turned on. But there we go. We've set down. And I can see all these I can see 2 different geological features here right now that I can go ahead and take a look at. Both of these geological features are, I want to change my loadout just in case to the Explorer and deploy in the SRV. Okay, SRV controls. Here's my throttle cluster. I've got the same button for forward and reverse, and this button is now my vertical thrust. This is now my steering. Rather than this being hardpoint deploy, it's now turret mode, which is nice, pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and get closer to this over here and give it a scan. Got a couple of things we can scan. And then maybe drive around a little bit to see if we can't find the third type of thing we're looking for. Okay. Turret mode. Over here, I can go ahead and... I don't want to shoot it. Yeah, here we go. I have my composition scanner and data scanner bound to the same key. So precious cobble happens to be there. And then move forward a little bit to get this lined up, apparently. Let me just pop out of this and go to drive mode. Get a Get a little closer. Hey, Sim Editor here, reminding you to subscribe and enable notifications if you want to know when more episodes like these come out. Now, back to the episode. And really take a look. Here we go. So you can see the composition scanner and the data scanner are both in the same thing. Now if I want to take a shot at this precious cobble to break it up and grab it, I certainly can. Pop into reverse to back up. Forward gear. This key right here opens my cargo scoop. And you can see it stays red for a little bit just to indicate to me that the cargo scoop is in transition. And we'll just snag this precious cobble. And crystalline fragments. Switch mode. I'm going to grab a data scan for crystalline fragments because you never know. Okay. Switch mode. Shoot that. Let's go ahead and get that targeted for pickup. Got some manganese. My cargo scoop is still open, so that's fine. And we have one more type of... we might have gotten all three geological features here in the same spot. That'd be pretty cool if we did. Okay. Flip modes. Target this. Target that. Scan them both at the same time. And let's go pick this up. And we are done. So we'll retract our cargo scoop. These two buttons I have here are for night vision on off and my lights. So back to the ship. This kind of gives you an idea how to safely glide in without dropping out of Super Cruise prematurely. And all that other stuff. I flipped myself in reverse instead of hit the button for the other thing. So now I've made some discoveries. These discoveries aren't going to be particularly valuable here necessarily. I was kind of wondering why I was going so slow. Had no power and energy. Pull up nice and slow until we get the old board ship sign. There we go. And board. I also have a, up underneath here I do have a cursor key that I can use with a button. So if I'm in a menu, say I'm in a menu, actually I can use the menu here with a thumbstick. And I also have another four-way switch that allows me to change my tabs. But that basically allows me to, and then just pushing down the secondary thumbstick escapes me out of the menu. So I'm pushing up on my throttle on my little horizontal thrust thing.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Wrong button.
Cargo scoop retracted. Landing gear retracted.
Full power to throttle. And then at least a 45-degree angle to get up out of here. Once we're over 2 kilometers, we can engage the Super Cruise.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
All right, now that we're in Super Cruise, we can get ourselves to a safe distance away from everything. We have all the discoveries we need here. So, for the sake of saying I did it, let's find our way home. LHS 3589. Plot a course. 7 jumps. This wheel right here I have set up as my zoom for my for the scanner. Yeah, this is a nice fuel star. So we're going to go ahead and
Fuel scooping.
I like to fly
System scan complete.
horizontally because it'll tell me like what the actual exclusion zone is. And fueling up around a fuel star is actually more about the distance than it is the speed. So I'm going to slow down actually to bring this distance in. And I want to zoom in as close as possible on my radar. So I can start seeing that exclusion zone come up. We're red, but it'll actually show me as I spiral in slightly closer. Can I get a little closer? I'll start seeing the exclusion zone around the star, hopefully. We can get quite close. I'm pulling in 170 something fuel per second. Now I'm starting to spiral out, so I'm going to slow down a bit. I'm watching my heat. 176 is max, so we're right at the maximum ingest line for my fuel here, and you can see I'm chugging it in. Watching this radar to see if I get close to the exclusion zone. It'll look like a sort of a black or unmapped area around the star. I have full twist in on my stick at this point. To yaw to the left. And I find this setup gives me precise control and good visibility about how close I am to the star. I can zoom my radar out a little. Yeah, there's the exclusion zone now that I zoomed out. So as long as I don't get any closer than that, we are totally safe. All right, I'm going to pull off so I don't crash into that particle beam. But otherwise, get myself my destination set to where I'm going, the Rooster Gateway. And this will give us a little bit of summary on how to actually supercruise pretty efficiently. So I've got full throttle in. I'm going to keep that until I see 10 seconds of distance remaining on my supercruise. So that way I'm really hauling butt towards Rooster Gateway. If I use supercruise assist, that's cool, but it's going to slow me down. Well, it'll take me a little longer to get there. We're about a little over a minute away at current velocity, but you can see that we're actually accelerating, so that's time's coming down. As soon as I see 10 seconds or so on the timer, I'm going to back off the throttle to the middle of this blue zone. So on the right of the radar, there's your throttle quadrant, right? This is moving. You can see my indicator turns blue. You have this sort of blue indicator. Right in the middle of that is where you want to be after about 10 seconds of distance. So coming up here, right about there, which equates to about 65, maybe 75% throttle. And that's pretty much guaranteed to get me there at a safe interval. Now, if I really want to, I can go over here to my ship and re-enable the Super Cruise Assist and activate. And now I no longer need to worry about dropping out at the right time. Super Cruise Assist will take care of that for me. But you can see as we get close to this planet, Super Cruise Assist is actually not helping me in this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and disengage it and just do this manually. I'll go ahead and throttle up. I want to come by this planet quicker. Big gravity wells have a tendency to slow down your super cruise. And once again, coming down to 15 seconds of distance, 10, right about there. Back off to around 65% throttle. Now I'm watching the indicators on the right. Or, sorry, my other right. Watching the indicators on the left. You'll see that when the speed gets to the blue band and the distance gets within the blue band, I can actually hit my Super Cruise key to disengage Super Cruise manually. If I do it now, it'll be too soon. But this is a point where I'd normally I'd have my Super Cruise assist on because I've done all the efficient flying. At this point, it's just now precision targeting, but it's not too bad. Distance coming down to the blue band where we want it. Speed's already there. Safe to disengage. Okay, we've disengaged and we're now here at the Rooster Gateway.
Lakon, Sierra Indio Mike. This port is under federal control. Submit to randomized security scans on approach. Okay, Commander. Proceed to landing pad 03.
I'm basically entering the pattern at this point, so I want to go ahead and dump all my power to shields. It's just a personal safety thing. As we come up to the actual entrance of the toaster slot, I'm getting myself under 100 meters per second. I'm aiming for the toaster slot, and I'm using vertical thrust.
You're on track, Commander. Approach looks good.
Basically vertical, horizontal, whatever thrust I need to do to get myself more or less centered. And then I can just aim for the middle, get my thrust adjusted. Apply a little bit of left aileron for to adjust for the station rotation. And I'm landing at pad 03, which is directly ahead in the compass. Now that I'm inside the station, deploy the landing gear. And I'm basically aiming for the numbers.
Landing gear deployed.
Once it gets to where the numbers are pretty close to the only thing on my screen, I'm throttling down and applying downward thrust. Until I get my landing pad indicator. Yeah, that's pretty good. Get myself centered. And head on down to the pad. Touchdown.
Solid contact. Power down your engines. Welcome to the station, Commander.
And that's it for sort of this tutorial flight on how to do some of the basic maneuvers so that you can do things efficiently. Flying around this game is a lot of what you do. So we covered taking off from a station without any autopilot assist. We covered flying to a system that you haven't discovered and doing discoveries in that system using the discovery scanner, which I had bound as in my second fire group to this button here, as my second fire group number 2, which this is the button for whatever weapon number 2 designation number 2 is. Then using these switches once in discovery to enter discovery mode. Use this switch this slider to adjust the frequency. Use this switch for the adaptive zoom in and out to actually identify the signals that we're taking a look at. And then, of course, backing back out of that mode. We also took a look at using these similar setup for the surface scanner. Descending, landing on a planet to do so safely without dropping out for an emergency stop, causing minor hull damage. Landing, driving around in the SRV, doing some scanning, targeting stuff. And then getting on our ship and flying back out on a several jump journey and manually entering the dock and landing on a pad. And that is going to be it for this bonus episode of Let's Play Elite Dangerous. Tune in next time when I actually join a friend of mine, Commander Drathara, to play some Elite Dangerous multiplayer with Multicrew. Until then, I'm Sim Gamer, and this has been Elite Dangerous Odyssey.